Hi there VC, Steve Whitty here, time for another video. Hope everyone is well. This video is going to be showing off November's finds, finally catching up on myself. And yes, so I'm going to show 20 albums that I've acquired over the November. And I hope you like what I show. So without further ado, let's start. Herbie Hancock, Headhunters. This is a music on vinyl reissue. I think the album came out 1973. Moved as a lot of jazz musicians from the Miles Davis route of going down the more fusion, blending jazz with rock. I think Hancock had appeared on one of Davis's albums. I'm not a great aficionado of jazz, so forgive me for that. This was one that was always on the list of top jazz albums, Tone. So I bit the bullet in the shop and brought myself a copy. Really good as well. I enjoy it. It's maybe 2026 is something to get you more into jazz. I don't know. We'll see how it goes with that one. Next up, Elvis Costello, and this is the album Hey Clock Face. This came out in 2020. This is a bit of a mixed bag from Elvis Costello. It's got a lot of different styles on this album. You listen to Revolution number 49 and you find that this is not going to be your typical Elvis Costello album. Not that I think he does typical albums. He's not afraid to go in different directions. He did the country album. He's done the sort of classical work as well. So this is actually really good. Please pick it up. Got plenty of tracks on here. Sort of like I mentioned, Revolution number 49. Hey Clock Face, How Can You Face Me? It's well worth picking up some of this later stuff. Some of it appeared in the shop, so I might be getting some more of this. Next album, The Undisputed Truth, their self-titled album. Norman Whitfield, the producer, he had two bands that were his main projects. Temptations was one, and so with this lot. This is a reissue on the Gordy label, and I heard it through the grapevine. Ball of Confusion, which the Temptations did, which Whitfield produced. Aquarius. You've got the tracks on here. They do a version of like a Rolling Stone. They sort of get forgotten a little bit. They weren't a bad band. I think in Panther of the 70s. I think those who know vocal harmonies they had as a group. But I liked it, and I think it's well worth seeking out. Last in the October finds, I did say I was going to fill some gaps, and I did a little bit more in November as well. And for example, Jeff Buckley's Grace. Now this is what could have been. He could, if he hadn't had the Drowned, he could have gone on to be really major, or this could have been the only album. That's the beauty of it. We will never know. But it's one of those albums. It grew on me on CD. I didn't come to the Buckley party until just before his death. That's where I got his CD. But as you listen to it more, you find there's not a duff track on here. Even the version of Lilac Wine, which we know in the UK for Elkie Brooks doing. It's just great. Hallelujah. Yeah, I think that song's been played to death with so many different versions, but some will say this is a definitive version of it. His voice is the lead instrument on this album. I think I'm sort of talking to a lot of people that have probably already got this in their collection, but it is a must-have. Talking of jazz, as I mentioned a few records ago, I think probably for some people the ultimate jazz album, Miles Davis, Kind of Blue. I always make the mistake of saying I know it's Steve Carlson's favourite album of all time. It's just wonderful, relaxing record. I can't put my finger on it what makes it so good, a jazz album. As I say, I'm not a jazz expert. I've got not that many jazz records in the collection. But there's something about it. I think you look at who appears on it, Julian Adderley, John Coltrane, Wynton Kelly, Bill Evans. It's almost like a who's who of jazz that's on this album. And I don't know, it's just, as I say, I can't put my finger on it. There is something about this album that makes it so great. Moving up to 2025, Suede, Antidepressants. This is a wonderful album. It may be the album of the year, but you're going to have to find out when I do a best of 2025 video. Suede, one of these bands that when they got back together, they weren't going to live off their past glories. They were going to make new albums, relevant albums. I think this might be the 4th album since they got back together, and it's wonderful. I think it's up there with Suede coming up as well. I just think it's just a wonderful album. The songs are strong, the performances are strong. As I said, Brett Anderson sounds great on here. It's just absolutely up there with one of the albums of the year. Doobie Brothers, Toulouse Street. Found this in the £2 bins. A little bit marked, but it plays okay. Giving it a bit of a wipe over. This album is a reissue. I think it's a reissue. Yeah, it's a reissue. You've got to listen to the music, which is the best known track. It's probably my introduction to Doobie Brothers. Do a version of Jesus Is Just Alright and Rocking Down the Highway. I ain't going to open the album up and show the inside because I think Toulouse Street is probably where home of probably all the Bordellos in New Orleans, and it sort of like there's a scene. The inside probably might be of a scene inside of such establishment, but for £2, I'm happy with that. Probably need to sneak out some more Doobie Brothers as well. Beastie Boys, Ill Communication, 1994. This came out. This was an album that saw the band shift away from tape loops and samples and more playing their own instruments. In fact, the back cover indicates this. Best known track, Sabotage, particularly with the video. This is just a great album. There's something about it. What I like about it, this record, is there's a rough rawness to it, and I do like music that's a bit raw and rough and ready, and this is sort of just shows that off to a T. Cocteau Twins, Heaven or Las Vegas from 1990. This sort of like is their creative peak, I suppose, their commercial peak, commercial success, featuring the wonderful voice of Liz Fraser. I'll go with that. I can always edit that out. This is just wonderful. Again, the sound, it's typical sounding, Cocteau Twins sounding, but sounds sort of almost commercial. And yeah, you got the title track, I Wear Your Ring on side B, Cherry Coloured Funk opens up the record. Just wonderful sound. It just works well. Another album from this year, Robert Plant and Susie Diane, Saving Grace. This is just a wonderful slab of lo-fi Americana. It's Plant following his own muse, which he has done for pretty much since the 90s. He's gone on his own merry way and done what he wanted to do, and he gets success from it. And I think gets a lot of respect for doing that. He could have lived off being Led Zeppelin for the past 40 years, and he hasn't. He's never rested on his laurels. He's always seeking different musical paths, and then make records that reflect those paths he's taken. Wonderful album, well worth getting. Brian Eno, David Byrne, My Life in the Bush of Ghosts. Quite a weird album. This came out 1981, right in the middle of the time where Eno and Byrne were working a lot with Talking Heads. Caused a bit of a ruckus within the band. As I say, he's weird one, a very bit avant-garde. Track 5 on side 1, The Jezebel Spirit. Amazingly enough, when Channel 4 started broadcasting in the UK, it showed American football highlights. That song was the theme to the American football coverage. It's hard to believe that now, because it's such a weird, out there song. Not that they put the lyrics in on the intro and in the introduction music, but they used the track. Great album. Counting Crows, and this is August and everything after. Came out in '93. Out of nowhere, Counting Crows broke with this record. Mr. Jones being the standout track, the big track. But I've got a soft spot for Round Here, Omaha and Rain King. They were like all other singles. This is, again, a wonderful record. Produced by T-Bone Burnett. It's the production sound. It just fell into the public psyche at the right time. Reflective, like Americana, rock, which is easy on the ear. I could see why it was successful. A lot of people would have put the CD in the car and driven along to this. Garbage, their self-titled debut, and I think this came out in '95. One of my favourite albums of this period. Garbage sort of came together, sort of like Butch Vig, and it just works so well. My favourite track is the opening track, Super Vixen. This is very much a production song with the sort of gaps in between the instrumental parts. Queer was a big single. So was Stupid Girl. Stupid Girl was the biggest hit in the UK off here. And you got Milk as well. It's just a wonderful album. You feel like you know every track on here. I do. I played the CD to death at the time. So I was very much happy. There's the band Pulling Faces and wherever. So I'm very much happy to pick that up as a vinyl copy. Now, one band sort of stood out despite not releasing anything. However, it was to do with the tour. And I bit the bullet and I've got myself Oasis reissue of Be Here Now. And at the time when I brought the CD, I thought it was a bit overproduced, a bit loud, so to speak. I remember when this came out in '97. You got the date on the cover. All the record shops were opening at midnight. Even the local Virgin in my hometown, Sutton Coldfield, was open at midnight. And I thought about it, and I thought, no, I can't. What's the point? I can't play the bloody thing. I'll rake the neighbours up anyhow. And when I did get a copy, I got a copy a couple of days later. I was initially very disappointed by it. As I said, I thought it was a bit loud, overproduced. The songs weren't as good as What's a Story Morning Glory. That was such a big album. It was the first time that Noel had written songs fresh for an album. People forget that. He had those songs for the first two albums already done and dusted. As they say, it takes a lifetime to write your first album, or in this case, second album. Difficult part is when you come to write new songs, and especially you have to sort of follow up as well, And in a sense, this may have tried to be What's Story Morning Glory Part 2. What come the 2000s, and there was a sort of shift in the sound. However, as it's sort of been shown this year when they did the tour, they really only stuck to the first three albums, the songs from now on the live show. So there you go. And if Oasis play the cards right, they could be doing that for the next 10, 15 years if the health holds out. Going back to more jazz, this is the Southern Crusaders. The Crusaders with Southern Comfort. And double album. And just smooth jazz. Crusaders, I've grown to like. Street Life I knew because it was a big hit single, 79. And I've got a couple best of, and I've got a couple more albums there. So I think I was happy just to pick this up. See, it picked me up. It's cheap. It's a cheap album to pick up, and I enjoyed it. Just sort of relaxing music. Back to classic albums of the '90s. Bjork's self-titled. Well, it's not. It's Bjork's debut. I keep thinking it's Bjork. No, it's not. And it's not a debut either. It's a debut post Sugar Cubes album. And this is just a sort of classic album of its own. You're going to have to forgive the glare here. Human Behaviour, Venus of the Void, big hit single, Big Time Sensuality. Just a wonderful album. I know originals, so when they come into the shop, fly out, even though they can be quite expensive. But I can see why. It's sort of like listening to this again after a few years. Yeah, see how good Björk was at her peak. She appeared, Björk appeared on the Brits in 1994, and she did a duet with PJ Harvey. This album is a latest release, I'm Inside the Old Year Dying, which came out 2023, which was a bit of a gap from a previous album. And PJ Harvey, as always, he's wonderful. It's a great album. You know, I hope she doesn't leave a bigger gap between the next album, but this, I just enjoy this. Listening to this, I was so glad I got round to getting it, and she's wonderful, PJ Harvey, national treasure. She'll look after her. Another classic 90s album. This is Massive Attack, Blue Lines. It evokes a period, 1990, early 90s, 1992 this was. Safe from Harm, Unfinished Sympathy, Be Thankful for What You Got. This, again, not a duff track on this album. This sort of sticks out as a sort of classic. And it's what leads on from that. You get your likes of Portishead. And you got Tricky, who appears on this album. It's just, just such an influential album. One that, if you're going to have say these are albums that you've got to have in your collection, this is one of them. Almost done, VC. Ozzy Bisa, and this is their double live album, Black Magic Night. This was recorded at the at the Royal Festival Hall in 19th of July 1977. The double album came out the same year. Wonderful. This is wonderful. Ozzy Bisa, such an influential band when it comes to Afro rock, world music. I think it gets forgotten because it's right in the early 70s. The playing is just wonderful. There's a lot of interaction with the crowd. You can feel the crowd are getting well into this. This is a summer record. The gig was in the summer. This was summer sounding. Everyone's up for it. And, it appears to be a lot of dancing. You've got obviously Sunshine Day, which was their first big hit singles on here. This is released on the Bronze record label and was produced by the owner, Jerry Bron. So you've got Living Loving Feelings on there, Spirits Up Above, Music for Gong Gong. It's just absolutely wonderful. And the final record I'm going to show you is them featuring Van Morrison. This is a Dutch pressing, pretty much as it says on the tin. So you've got Gloria. You've got Baby Please Don't Go, Here Comes the Night. Big hit singles for them. Van Morrison, he only lasted a couple of years. I mean, Here Comes the Night was the #1 single in the UK. And I think Morrison got a bit fed up with the whole sort of pop scene, all the interviews and being asked inane questions that did at that time. Really was into the music. He left the band after a while. They carried on. In my BBC Records video, I showed a couple of post Van Morrison demo albums. But this is just wonderful. Wonderful R&B. Really great sounding record as well. So there you go, VC. That are the finds for November. I hope you like them. Let me know what you think of those records. So if you like this video, thumbs up, thumbs down. Feel free to leave a comment. Love the interaction. And while you're at it, if you feel that way inclined, subscribe as well. It'll make me a happy bunny. So whatever you get up to this week, VC, make sure you have a good one. Keep spinning. More importantly, keep on smiling.